former two-time WBO middleweight and super middleweight champion of the world. The father of Chris Eubank Jr., who was due to be fighting against Conor Benn in bitter or rivals, because the two fathers had fought X amount of years, maybe 30 years ago. So the two sons were going to meet up. And as we know, Chris Eubank Jr. was going to come and fight at 150, I think it's 156 pounds, 157 pounds at 32 years old. And he just about makes middleweight, you know. So it was a dangerous fight for Chris Eubank Jr. And that's for Conor Benn, he was moving up from welterweight right up to middleweight. So, and Eubank Sr. had said at the time, to many gasps and to many people, the fight shouldn't go ahead and Conor should continue campaigning at welterweight. And he also said that his son should not participate in the fight, too dangerous, and he should pull him out. That's what he will say. So, this, you may call this a conspiracy show. I'll take that. But I have a few theories about this. Let's throw them up in the air and hear what you've got to say. This is BWTM Sports. Let's get into this one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You know what happens now. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. We're going to get straight into this one. Chris Eubank Sr. believes Conor Benn is innocent. So I have a few thoughts about this. Okay, sorry. Right, let me bring this up here. Let's get this article up here. It should be share article. Let's go present, share screen. Make sure my audio's there. And bang. Right, and we're going to be using courtesy of The Paradise. Yes, it's The Paradise that's going to be, let's get this in full view. Leif says, I wonder if this substance could be gotten from a woman. Ooh, very interesting there. Very interesting thoughts there. Right, so the article is from The Paradise. Hope you can see that there. Let's get down. Conor Benn is innocent. Chris Eubank Sr. speaks out in defense of his son's rival and insists he doesn't know how to cheat. Chris Eubank. Oh, it's by Michael Benson. Surprise, surprise. Chris Eubank Sr. has defended Conor Benn after his fight with Chris Eubank Jr. was cancelled due to the positive drug test. The son of the boxing legend Nigel Benn, Chris Eubank Sr.'s famous old rival, is now under investigation by UCAD and VADA. Found clomiphene in his system. So Senior and Nigel shared two historic fights in the 1990s, but have more recently put their bitterness to one side. They do regular speaking events together nowadays and appear at one of these engagement commentary on Friday night. When the subject of the son's failed drugs test came up, both had their say. Conor Benn is innocent, Eubank Sr. insisted to the crowd. He doesn't know how to cheat. He's a Christian. Let me put it this way. Wouldn't it seem normal to you? They are one, but everyone else is free, and it doesn't make sense to me. Regardless of the drug test, Eubank Sr. was adamant that he didn't want the fight to take place. His concerns was over the 157 catch weight Eubank Jr. had agreed to make for the bout, which I mentioned earlier. Benn Sr. said, in hindsight, I thank God the fight never happened with this lingering over my son's head. Chris was saying to me, my son can't make the weight. He can't make 157. Well, he decided to wait. Then I saw a picture of him at 159.3, and I looked at him, and he did not look well at all. So I thank my Heavenly Father for not letting this fight go on. Now I understand what Chris was saying. I didn't get it, and then I saw him, and he wasn't right. If Conor had fought him and something went terribly wrong, and with the over his head, you took drugs, you killed or you maimed him, we wouldn't be able to live that down. But I know my Heavenly Father, no, this is not going to get sorted out first before the fight happens. Ben continues, I guarantee you 100% I'm behind my son. If I thought my son ever took performance-enhancing drugs, I would hang him out to dry. I've worked hard to get my name where it is today, but I know my son. He's a dedicated fighter. He will not take drugs. We will get to the bottom of this scientifically. Let the lawyers and scientists deal with this, but I pray to God that the apologies are as loud as the media that threw my son under the bus. They've already found him guilty before it has gone anywhere. I would be the first to throw him under the bus. I've watched my son in my arms, but he will get vindicated. So, there you go. There's lots to talk about here. Can you see the whole of that article? Did you see the whole of that article I was talking? Yeah, you must have done. You must have seen the whole article. Let's come back here now. So, there's a lot to take in there. But why is it? Eubank makes one good valid point. The first valid point he makes is that if someone is guilty, if Ben is guilty, then shouldn't his trainer and all the people around him go down as Ben is going down? Why is that not the case? That's the first thing. Secondly, Eubank referred on a recent podcast that you tried to kill my son and I'm coming for you. You tried to kill my son and I'm coming for you. To me, without trying to, well, you can't muddy the waters, but it sounds to me, a man that's been in the boxing arena and the boxing world for so long as a professional, he would have known the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows and the scumbags of the scumbags. I remember doing a video on here years ago, and I said that all this drug testing is very easy for people to have their careers destroyed if they don't follow the leader. They don't follow the plan. They don't follow the gang. They don't fall in line. And you see, there are many ways I could take this conversation, but I'm going to go first with the promoter. He's not the most popular promoter in the world, and he has made enemies. He's made enemies where at a time when he was flying and he had DAZN, he had Sky Sports behind him, he was almost unstoppable. But he hasn't got that Sky Sports machine behind him. He's got Dead Zone now. And his stable is weakening. People are leaving and signing with Boxer or signing with Frank or going to Wasserman. They're leaving Matchroom. And they're starting to work out what Matchroom's all about. And Hearn has not made, hasn't done himself any favors previously. And so whoever leaked it in the media, you think to yourself, was that to hurt Conor Benn? Or was that also to hurt Eddie Hearn? Now, it's not the first time that Eddie Hearn fighters have been caught dirty. We can talk about situation. We can talk about Kid Galahad. We can talk about Billy Joe Saunders. We can talk about Dillian White fighting and the B sample going missing. We could talk about these things. We could also talk about the hypocrisy of Hearn when he talks about Canelo being a drug cheat, but yet still promoting him. We could talk about the hypocrisy when he talked about Gerald, Big Baby Miller being banned from boxing, but yet having Alexander Povetkin and promoting him 3 times as and he was a bang to rights court 3 times as a drug cheat, and having him on the show and promoting him. He had Luis Ortiz and promoting him as well. So something doesn't quite add up. And I wonder, here's where I think that Eubank knows, Eubank Senior knows that there's some shady people that have one of 2 intentions. Either Conor Benn didn't fall in line and didn't do what he was meant to do, whatever that was, and now he's been humiliated and he's been embarrassed. Now, that's one thing. 2, it's character assassination, where a person's career is doing well, and then you have to go and they're trying to assassinate a person's character. Now, it's not the first time something like this has happened in sport, where a person's character has been assassinated, or a person's character has been hit the lowest of the lows. If you look at Tyson Fury, wasn't he considered a drug cheat? All that gets swept under the carpet now because he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Nobody really talks about that. Tyson's an angel now. But he was banned from boxing for a while, was he not? And then that ban was backdated, right? So, but remember, even Tyson at one point had got out of line. He was saying some things, and was saying some things against the establishment. And when you say things against the establishment, be prepared to get fire back. And Tyson got a whole heap of fire. And you see, since Tyson's come back, he hasn't been running his mouth off about the establishment like he did before. If you look at Tyson Fury now, very well-oiled PR machine for the most part. Keeps his mouth shut. And you think to yourself how he was before. Now, I don't think Conor Benn's making any political statements, so not that I'm aware of. So why would someone contaminate Conor Benn's drug sample? Why would they contaminate it? Well, did he have a falling out with somebody? Because it's easy to tamper somebody's sample. I don't believe anything is not corruptible. As long as man's hand is in dealing with investigations, and as long as man's hand is dealing with the process, as long as man is involved, then as far as I'm concerned, there is room for error and there's room for corruption. And boxing is a corrupt sport. So when we're ready to start pointing fingers at people, corruption is and boxing go hand in hand. Eubank says, I'm coming for you. Who are these people? Who are these people that Eubank's talking about? And how is he for sure? How does he know for sure that Conor Benn is innocent? How does he know that? Is it because he's doing a tour with Nigel now that he thinks, well, you know, I want to keep things sweet between myself and Nigel. I don't want to get things out of line. I don't think it's that. I really believe that he knows exactly how this system works. He knows how the system works, and he knows whether it was this a political decision that was made. Was this decision made to hurt Hearn, or was it made to hurt the Benns? Were the Benns not falling in line? Did the Benns piss somebody off? Did Conor refuse to pay somebody money? Did Conor have an argument with somebody? Was Conor somewhere where he shouldn't have been? How did that stuff get into his system? How did it get into his system? That's what I want to know. And this is, but he had failed drug tests before this fight. Let's remember, there was a failed drug test before then. So was this something that was always going on, and it was turned a blind eye on, and then somebody who didn't like Hearn leaked the information. I don't know, but there's lots to think about. Kid Galahad is a good example of how easy drug tests can be abused. Or did he get a relative to cover his crime? The waters get muddier. Oh, of course they do. Simeon Halep tested positive in tennis this month and is immediately suspended before any appeal. That's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying to you. And you know how, as far as I'm concerned, these people I'm talking about, they operate the same way, whether it be in sports, whether it be in politics, whether it be in music, whether it be in fashion, whether it be in education. They operate the same way. If you don't fall in line with them, they will do things to assassinate your career. One way or another, they do it. No matter what happens with Conor Benn now, he will never have the career. I don't think. Can he come back the way Nigel Tyson Fury did? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, there has been a considerable development in Conor Benn from being, if you looked at Conor Benn when he fought that Paynod guy, he looked terrible against Paynod. And then a few fights later, he's knocking over Chris Algieri and Van Heerderen. So, and whoever put that into Conor's system, did they put it in Conor's system knowing that this fight was going to get cancelled? Was this going to be a hit, not on Conor Benn, but on Chris Eubank Jr.? Was this stuff going on behind the scenes with Chris Eubank Jr.? This stuff gets muddier and muddier, I tell you. I think Chris Sr. knows he doesn't need to say much. Sr. is wearing a halo and will use this to his advantage. He doesn't have to say much. But in what he's saying, he isn't even saying, why is the team not suspended? Why is it just Conor Benn? Why are the team not being investigated? Imagine if everyone on that team is doing exactly what Conor's doing. But those guys are being, there's a blind eye going over them. Let's be honest. Let's keep things real here. I'm not suggesting Tony Sims is training drug cheats. I'm not suggesting that for 1 second. But what I am saying is that this sport is corrupt. That's what I am saying. And if you can get corruption on cards and referee decisions, then you're telling me you can't get corruption within drug testing, one way or the other. I don't know. So, was it the plan to hurt Chris Eubank Senior, Jr.? Was that the plan? Look how sick Eubank Jr. looked. There is no way he could have stood up to Conor Benn's punching power. And Conor Benn was so sure he was going to knock out Chris Eubank Jr. Nobody had done it. Groves had not done it. So how's this guy Conor Benn going to do it and be so sure of it? See, so many things get thrown up. So many things get thrown up. Don't know. And when Senior was doing all that, or Junior, in fact, was doing all that 60% stuff, did he know already the fight wasn't going to go ahead. Did you know that? I don't know. I don't know. But one thing's for sure. Eddie Hearn has enemies, right? He's got enemies. He's got people that don't like him. And if that Conor Benn situation was the beginning of the unraveling, will more fighters will more fighters be exposed near fight time? Now think about the amount. Now check this out for a second. Think about the amount of money they would have made for Benn versus Eubank Jr. if they pushed that fight through. Now think about the loss they would have made. Get everybody there, and the week of the fight, this thing leaks. Why didn't it leak 2 weeks beforehand? So it was leaked the week of the fight. Why did they leak it then? Maximum damage, right? Maximum damage. Maximum damage was done. Those guys can't fight. The fight would have got so much publicity. That would have been the peak of the publicity that week. And then's when they dropped the news. When the fight was at its peak. When the weigh-in has been done, the weigh-in, the pad work was done, then they dropped that. Think about that. They could have dropped it the week before. Why drop it then? Someone didn't want Hearn and DAZN making that money. There you go. Maybe somebody knows that Hearn's got to make a certain amount of money by a certain time for DAZN. I don't know. And if that's the strategy, will that strategy be used again in upcoming fights for other well-known fighters? Sorry, off topic. Well done by getting the Lagos ladies through to the zonals. On topic, Matchroom and DAZN are becoming toxic brands. Okay. Matchroom and DAZN are becoming toxic brands. Matchroom and DAZN have always been toxic brands. It's just being, what's the word? There's more pressure on them now because Sky Sports has gone. They're always toxic. Always toxic. Always toxic. And I told you before, and I'll tell you again, I'd much rather attend a Frank Warren press conference than ever attend a Matchroom press conference. Ever. Ever. And even dealing with the people. But that's beside the point. We'll see if this was just a one-off with the DAZN thing and Benn versus Eubank Jr. We'll see. Because if it is, what's the word? If it is a attack on the financial gain of the DAZN Matchroom, then it will happen again. It won't be the first time. Thank you about Lagos for them qualifying. Yes, it was a great thing to qualify. Best team in the Southwest. It's the second time. Did it with the boys, now done it with the girls. I know public perception. BWTM. If Eddie was on Sky Sports, this story would have been buried in the media graveyard. You wonder, don't you? You do wonder. You do wonder. You really do wonder. You do wonder. But the first person I thought that leaked that story was via Eubank Senior. But he says he had nothing to do with it. But I guess he would. I think there's good. I think the more they dig into this, the more you're going to find out about what's really going on in the back rooms of boxing. So we just have to keep an eye on Dillian White's coming back soon. We'll have to keep an eye on that to see if anything funny goes on there. The next Anthony Joshua fight will be interesting to see if anything comes out there as well. Because is this just one person? Is it just Conor Benn? If it's just an isolated incident, then fine. But really, no boxer is safe. Because if they want to take and contaminate your drugs, your samples, they will. They will. Some people think that Conor's done it, and the reason they think he's done it is because of he's always kind of angry before a fight, but then there are other fighters that are angry before a fight, and they call it roid rage, but I don't know. I'm always hesitant when it comes to passing judgment. They also, Conor ripped up his license, his British Boxing Board of Control license. Now that, I don't know if anybody here remembers, but the father did the same thing too. Nigel Benn ripped up his British Boxing Board of Control license because they did not recognize his fight against Doug DeWitt in America. And I remember the fight well. And Ben had to get off the canvas to knock DeWitt out. Great fight, by the way, Doug DeWitt, Nigel Benn. If you ever get a chance, watch it. And Ben afterwards had the British Boxing Board of Control license, and he ripped it up live on television. So it's not the first time a Ben has ripped up a boxing license. But that didn't stop Ben having his fight against, defend his WBO title against Chris Eubank, or having the return fight against Chris Eubank. So I do. They did not like Ambrose. Well, there you go. You see? You see? You see? Because you're not part of the clique. If you're not part of the clique, they will do things to isolate you. So, yeah. I just wonder. Was it over percentage? Did Conor have any arguments with anybody? That's what I'd like to. I'd like someone to interview Conor Benn and say, did you have any arguments with any? Did you have any falling outs with anybody? Did you not stick to an agreement? Did you run into the wrong person? That's what I'd be asking the question. And Eubank Jr. decided to go against his father's best wishes and wanted to take a fight at 157 pounds. Yeah. I mean, he's not all up there either. I mean, he must have been desperate for that money. I mean, he could have lost his life in there. Seriously. Seriously. Because if you look at the way that boy looked, he looked terrible. And I said to people on this show, I said that Eubank Jr., I don't know how he's going to make that weight because he's got nothing on him as it is. And how the British Boxing Board of Control allowed that boy to drop such weight like that. In fact, there should be a rule, and I don't know if it's possible, that when you get to a certain age, that you cannot lose weight below a certain level. Let's say, like, once you get to, like Eubank Jr., once you get to 32, 33, and you've been campaigning at 160 pounds, yeah, you can't move back down in weight. You can move up in weight, but you can't move down in weight. That way, that would prevent situations like this Eubank situation against Conor Benn. So that means that Conor Benn, and now they're saying if the fight was ever made again, Conor Benn would fight him at 160 pounds. Can you believe this? Drug testing is complicated, but there's seemingly no criminal investigations to ascertain if anyone has spiked anything in boxing. There you go. And why would they have criminal investigations? Oh, you want criminal investigations by criminals investigating criminals. So the people that turn a blind eye are the people who are going to investigate the people who are the criminals. That works out well in the sport of boxing, doesn't it? I don't know. I've lost a lot of faith in the sport of boxing. I really have. And that's why that night of boxing with Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall and Baumgardner and Mayer was such a great night of boxing. And we've got Chantel Cameron fighting Jessica McCaskill next week. Great fight. I don't know what happened with Katie Taylor tonight. I'm sure somebody will tell me that Katie Taylor, talking about Katie Taylor fighting Clarissa Shields. Nobody wants that fight. Nobody who's a Katie Taylor fan wants to see that fight. I'm telling you, nobody wants to see that fight. Max P, long time no see. Over the last 2 years, Conor has radically transformed into a beast. Before that, he wasn't looking great. He's clearly been on the sauce. You see, now that comment put right there is something I was alluding to before with Paynoid. So the thing is, if that is the case that he has been on the sauce and he's been found out, why has he been found out? Why has he been found out now? So, I mean, you can work in the gym, as he's always talking about, banging it out in the gym. I mean, smashing it in the gym. You know, I don't know. There's more questions, but because I don't trust the system, generally. I just think to myself, it's in the media. Those who control the media control the minds, and those who control the media control the narrative as well. So I don't know. Now they're saying it's contaminated, or it possibly could have been contaminated. I don't know, but I don't think this goes away anytime soon. I think there's going to be more to it. And now Eddie Hearn's saying he wouldn't get a fair hearing. I don't know. Drug testing protocol stepped up a level for such bigger fights. That's what busted him. But the thing is, okay, if that's the case, then why would you sign up to VADA? Why would you sign up to VADA? Unless that's a line that they use. Why would you sign up to VADA if you know you're gonna cheat? Yeah. Why would you sign up to VADA? Well, because I know I can cheat and nothing will happen to me. I know I can cheat and I know I can get away with it. I mean, look at Canelo. He was suspended, 6 months, and then he was back fighting in a super fight against Golovkin. So I don't know. So what happens for Conor Benn now? What happens with his career? Does he fight abroad now? Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. What happens to Conor Benn now? Does he fight abroad? Does he fight in America? Does he have a career in America now? Does he fight in Europe? If so, he's going to be known as a drug cheat. According to Peter Fury, UCAD should have found the substance. He says both are equal. Well, Peter, as you know, would know about UCAD and Tyson Fury. So, yeah, he would know. So, and all the crap that happened with UCAD and Tyson. So, he would know. So, I don't know. Just a lot to think about, a lot to talk about, and a lot to think about. Let me know your thoughts. If anybody knows anything, whether Conor pissed somebody off, you know, whether it's a direct attack on Hearn. I'd love to know what it is. I'd love to know. And if so, why would they contaminate Conor Benn's? Why would they contaminate it? But it's 2 failed drug tests now, you know, from 2 separate fights. And he admitted to it. He admitted he failed the drug test, but he claims he's innocent. I don't know. Failing 1 drug test is bad. Failing 2 drug tests for 2 separate fights. Hearn trying to say contaminated chicken and eggs. What, for 2 fights? For 2 fights. 2 fights. I don't know about that. If it's 2 fights. But a lot of money was lost because of this test result. That's what I'm saying. A lot of money was lost. So if they were trying to hit and trying to disrupt DAZN's money and disrupt Matchroom's money because they were taking a direct hit at Hearn because of the nonsense he's done previously, then they've done a good job. It's a good hit. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Yeah, I'd love to hear. Is it conspiracy theory that I'm talking? Did Conor piss somebody off? Did Eubank piss somebody off? Did Hearn piss somebody off? I know Hearn pissed somebody off. And is Eubank correct? Is Eubank Senior correct? Should all the team be banned? They kept saying it was only a trace. Of course it would only be a trace if he was trying to get a bit flush out the system. Damn. Yeah. Cycling gone wrong. Who knows? As always, thank you for watching BWTM Sports. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Leave your comments in the comment section. Let's continue this discussion in the comment section. Of course, if you've heard any news, if Conor yourself, if you've had an argument with someone and you want to be anonymous and drop it, let me know so we can discuss it further. Did you have a dispute with somebody? Did somebody want more money from you and you refused? Did somebody offer you an opportunity to join a club and you didn't want to join the club? And this is what they've done to you? Or is this just part of the system for you to go through this humiliation? I don't know. I really don't know. The world is so messed up now. I just don't know what is what anymore. I really don't. Or is it just you're a bloody cheat, mate? That's all it's down to. You're a bloody cheat and you got caught, mate. That's what happened. Is it that one? Because if it's that one, forget the conspiracy theories. You got caught, banged to rights, and that's that. So, yeah. John Smith, big up to you as well. Right. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Most important thing, make sure you hit the bell as well. On the icon, the bell. All right? Take care. Much love to you all. Whoa.